Things get heated on divorce court.
I met this southern man in Detroit and he wooed me.
Yeah.
And it was wintertime and it was getting ready to be a snowstorm. And he brought me something to drink and that was all she wrote.
You make a point of making a man show up on time. He has a right to be annoyed if you in there chit-chatting before he's gonna leave.
I think my boss had called me or I had to clock. It was something that needed to be done.
When I would call him like the first year of our marriage, when I would give him a call, and he would always answer his phone. Now, he doesn't answer the phone. He's on the roof. Like, you're always on the roof. You live on the roof. Like, seriously, answer my phone call.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting episode. To kick things off, we delve into the tumultuous waters of love, finance, and the pretty apparent generational gap. On one side, we have Sonetta Gibson, who accuses her partner Joe Plummer of being cheap and too fiscally stingy. On the other hand, Joe argues that marriage isn't just about dollars and cents, but a partnership and that he's too old to continue the rat race. Can these two bridge the chasm of their 16-year age difference, or will these differences be too much of a challenge? Let's hear their case.
We met in the 90s. We were both performers, and he was a good friend at the time. And but the thing is that now that we've gotten together, he drives me cuckoo bananas.
Now that's one way of saying a man drives you nuts, but to have to come up with a term like that proves that Mr. Joe just might drive a saint to swear. But before we start handing out judgments on the poor old man, let's hear what he has to say about Ms. Gibson.
He's jealous.
And why do you think he's so jealous?
I think it may be because of his age. He's 16 years older than I am.
I could be just a little bit, a hint of jealousy.
Yes.
But I take care of myself. So she's very beautiful, first of all, but she's flirtatious. We were at a show, a play, and one of my friends was in the play. And after the play, they had a little party afterwards, and she went up there to give him a big hug. No big deal. But it went on for like 3 or 4 minutes. I'm going like, okay, do you need to get a room or what?
While Ms. Gibson went on about how jealous he is and how much time he spends in front of the mirror, Mr. Plummer responded by stating how flirtatious she can be around other men. Just when things started to go Mr. Plummer's way, she dropped a bombshell about him going crazy banana cuckoo.
Because he's so jealous of everything. I can't do nothing. He's crazy, banana cuckoo. It was early on when I started working at this department store. And so I walked up to the door. He comes to pick me up at night, which is great. So I walk up to the door and I forget to clock out or something. So I walk back. As I come back to the door to open the door, here I see this man's face pressed up all in the window looking like this. And I was like, what's going on? He thought that I had gone back to try to give somebody my phone number or talk to somebody or something.
Here's the deal. Here's the truth. When she calls me to come pick her up, she wants me to be on time, so I'm there.
Yeah.
So she walks to the door. There's a little window at the door. Right. So she walks to the door, and she sees me, and if she's talking, she'll go like this. And then she'll come out. Okay. This time, she went to the door and did this and went like, and I couldn't see her. She just went out of focus. So I'm going like, okay, let me see how long this takes. And it took some minutes. So I said, okay, what's going on? So I went up to see what was going on.
You make a point of making a man show up on time. He has a right to be annoyed if you in there chit-chatting.
While Mr. Plummer might not be as cuckoo crazy as Mrs. Gibson portrays him, there's definitely more to this story than meets the eye. Just when we thought we had a handle on things, Mrs. Gibson throws us all for a loop with yet another bombshell. Brace yourselves, folks, because it looks like we're in for a wild ride.
The only
Mr.
thing, Your
Plummer,
Honor.
you say she tries to control what you wear. Explain that to me.
I like to dress nice. So that's what I like to do. Now, she has, she bought me some nice stuff before, But for the most part, nah.
He doesn't always have to look like he got off the stage, He had to admit this morning that he looked like one of the miracles or one of the Temptations. Hello?
Could there be a deeper motive behind Mrs. Gibson's accusations? Or are we simply scratching the surface of a relationship on the brink of implosion?
He's cheap. He's cheap and he don't want to spend no money. And every time I say, oh, we need something here, we need something there, he's like, we can't afford that.
What's wrong with a man being frugal? However, it seems that penny pinching is a cardinal sin in Mrs. Gibson's world. And guess what? Mr. Plummer's side of the story seems to be painting that picture quite vividly.
Well, when I first met her, I wasn't making what I'm making now. But the thing is, she said, well, if you want to get with me, you got to have $3,000 or $4,000. You got to make $3,000 or $4,000. And if I make more than you, then it's going to be a problem.
Wow. Just wow. This explains why she can't stand the man. But if Mr. Plummer knew this about her, then why did he get married to her? And now they're conjugally tied up. How do they get out of this mess?
We have a company
What
that
do
we're
you
trying
want
to...
him to do that he's not doing now? That's the part I'm trying to figure out.
Work. But every time I bring that up,
Yeah.
he's like, the first thing that comes out of his mouth, I worked 30 years. I'm retired.
Do you think she'll be satisfied with you if you don't go back to work? Because you earned your retirement, especially if you were working in the steel mill.
Yeah,
You've
I
earned
understand
that. But my question to you is, do you understand the level of la 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 you're gonna hear if you don't go back to work?
Caught between a rock and a hard place, Mr. Plummer has a decision to make. Go back to working full-time or lose the woman of his dreams? While he was still figuring that out in his head, a curveball was thrown at him, one that sees the fiery Mrs. Gibson show her emotional side. This roller coaster of emotions is about to hit another peak.
Well, when I first got with Joe, I talked to him about having kids, and he was like, "Oh, you can men say anything they want to say to get you." He's like, "Oh yes, I'm thinking about maybe we can have kids." And
I
all
got
this
4
stuff."
grown kids. I don't need any more kids.
Exactly. That's what happened. Thank you. Like 3 years into it. Yeah, and then I found out that I have a fibroid. And it's a big one too. It's the size of a grapefruit. I did want to have children. I felt like I could have had kids, you know, but I was really just thinking about my career more than...
Apparently, Ms. Gibson, the unstoppable force of nature, has always harbored dreams of motherhood, yet she finds herself at odds with her partner for what she perceives as a lack of support in this endeavor. Why? Let's find out together.
Well, I wouldn't mind if she didn't have such a high goal of spending money and wanting the car and the house and this.
Right.
Kids are, expensive.
Yes, they are.
So that's more money that we have to go into and find some money for that.
Mr. Frugal strikes again. The voice of reason, or stinginess, depending on who you ask, drives home the harsh reality. Kids mean more expenses he's not quite prepared to shoulder. But his partner's dreams of motherhood are valid and deserving of consideration. So do these two have enough common ground to build a future together? Or are their individual life goals destined to eclipse their relationship?
You want him, but you have to decide whether or not you're capable of getting the other things you want if you're with him. You got to make a decision, Mr. Plummer, if you want to work. Because this woman requires,
I'm working.
she's high maintenance. No, yeah, you're not working to the extent to shut her up.
The judge showed some tough love to the pair, laying bare before them. And from the looks of things, they have a lot of self-evaluation to do before taking that big step. The judge concludes by saying,
You may love each other, you may want to be together, but I think you're at such different points in your life that it doesn't make sense. Someone will always be eternally dissatisfied because you are incapable of satisfying the other person's most fervent need.
Both couples leave the courtroom with those poignant words ringing in their heads, ready to decide what's best for themselves, even if it means ending the relationship. Marriage should be a lifelong thing. However, in the case of 41-year-old Desiona Rose and her husband Shelby Rose, it didn't quite play that way as the husband left home in what Desiona calls their first big argument. Will Desiona uncover the truth behind Shelby's sudden departure? Can she mend the cracks in their once rock-solid foundation? With tensions running high and emotions on overdrive, this promises to be one courtroom showdown you won't want to miss. Let's hear their case.
Well, we're here today because my husband does not know how to communicate.
Okay.
He decided to leave the marriage after 6 months after the first altercation that we had. I can ask the man what he wants for dinner, and he says, "You just asked me that yesterday." You're supposed to ask every day. I'm here to cater to him. That's my husband.
Communication. A lack of it. Straight from the jump. Why would a couple that has known each other for 3 years and been married for 6 months suddenly want to end their marriage? Were there other issues? Let's hear what Mr. Shelby has to say.
Like she said to my, I left her one episode, one bad thing.
One bad thing.
one problem,
It's been,
and you one problem.
it's been more than one. More than one
Mrs.
issue.
Rose, other than communications, what problems do you have with Mr. Rose?
Judge.
She talked too much, one thing.
Now we're somewhere. She talks too much, granted. Although Mr. Shelby also didn't live up to his wooing promises. Like a politician caught in a scandal, there was still more to uncover.
I met him after being celibate for 6 months, and I was a tad bit horny. I took that 6 months to get to know myself. Well, I didn't allow myself any more time because I met this southern man in Detroit, and he woo-wooed me.
Yeah.
And it was wintertime, and it was getting ready to be a snowstorm, and he brought me something to drink, and kind of, that was all she wrote.
I did not.
Well, well, well. It seems we've stumbled upon a sweet little nugget of information, haven't we? Mr. Shelby, with all his talk of DeSiona's supposed insecurities, conveniently forgot to mention a little detail or two. He failed to mention that not only did he sweep this woman off her feet on the first date with some liquor, but he also moved in with her shortly after the two became a thing. But what if all this animosity stemmed from a lack of sexual satisfaction?
I asked my husband for foreplay. My husband looked at me and told me, when I get good and god darn ready. I said, what you mean when you, this is a lack of communication, something that I want to talk about.
You
Shelby
ain't had
said,
no problem about no sex, woman. Not to beat you
you
off there
don't
half
have
the
no
time.
problem with it. I had a problem with it. That's why I asked you for foreplay.
Okay, so DeSiona likes to get creative in the other room, but her husband is an old dog who claims he can't be taught new tricks. But could this be the source of all that pent-up anger and frustration bubbling beneath the surface? It's a question worth pondering as we sift through the tangled web of their marriage.
I hear you won the lottery, Mr. Rose.
Yes, ma'am.
How much did you win?
This particular time, $5,200.
$5,200. Did you share it with Mrs. Rose?
Yes, I did. I gave her $800 and she got mad and looked at me like I was crazy.
Whoa, someone hit the brakes on this speeding train. There are so many layers to why this marriage hasn't worked. Apparently, he won the lottery and couldn't stick with the agreement with his better half? Oh, what kind of man does that? But guess what? We haven't even gotten to the bottom of their troubles yet.
Your Honor, he left because I have 2 children. I have 2 girls. So when I met him, by him being an older gentleman, I disclosed to him what I was looking for and what I was expecting in this relationship. I have a teenager now at this point. He's not giving me respect or her respect. He's running around the house calling me, you know what, names that the children shouldn't hear, cussing. If I cry, he calls me a crybaby.
Lack of communication, check. Lack of trust, check. Lack of respect, double check. It turns out that this man has no regard for his woman or her girls. Her daughter sometimes gives him a taste of his medicine. We've had our ears filled watching this pair go at each other about everything wrong in their marriage. Do they want to remain married or continue down the path of the inevitable?
Your Honor, 2 weeks is our 1-year anniversary.
Right.
I saved the top tier of our beautiful wedding.
So you think this relationship can be saved?
If he gets some help.
Aww, love's enduring power. Despite the trials and tribulations, DeSiona's heart remains steadfast in her desire to salvage their marriage. But the million-dollar question remains, is Mr. Tit for Tat ready to meet her halfway?
Back to the lottery. He gave me $800 and redid the house. If I said I wanted a new couch, he got a new couch. So I said I wanted a computer. I'm starting my own business. I don't want to run to the library. He got me a little laptop, or a little red laptop computer. When he decided that he wanted to leave, that's the only thing that he decided he wanted to take from me.
The computer, I bought it, it's for us to use. I bought it, she ain't put a dime on it.
Ask him
I
what
didn't
the
buy
backspace
computer
and
say,
delete button is
Deshauna,
at.
this computer is for you. This computer is for me and you.
Again, back to the lottery money. It so happened that Shelby took the computer he bought for her when she wanted to start her business as he left the house. If the man wants the marriage to work out, why is he so hell-bent on getting their computer back? It's time for the judge's verdict.
You rattled off all of the things he purchased for you. And then you said when he left, you took a weed whacker, an orange extension cord, and the computer. He's entitled to at least that, wouldn't you say? Absolutely. There will be
Thank
no
you.
recovery in this matter. It is so ordered.
And so the judge's ruling marks the end of DeSiona and Shelby's marriage and any recollections. Despite DeSiona's efforts, the court session reveals Shelby's true character. They choose to remain separated, living in different cities. It's a bittersweet resolution to their once promising love story, but they part ways with lessons learned and memories cherished. As they embark on separate paths, may they find peace and healing, carrying with them the echoes of their shared journey. Moving on, we hear the case between Tiffany Michael and Mohammed Hamoud. Tiffany met Mohammed at a nightclub 6 years prior. What started as a blossoming friendship soon led to marriage 3 years later, shortly after Mohammed's divorce. But alas, dear viewers, it seems the sweet melodies of their Cupid story have fallen out of tune. Now Tiffany feels that the love and care are fading and that she fears someone else is trying to steal her man. Meanwhile, Mohammed opines that his dearly beloved only cares about material things. What changed in their little Cupid story? Let's find out if their marriage can be saved. The stage is set for another blockbuster episode with a lot at stake. A beautiful 3-year marriage, trust, and of course, a whopping sum of $42,000. Let's have their opening statements.
We met, he owned a nightclub, and he was married at the time. I was in Ohio, he was in Michigan, and I would always go up to his nightclub and just, see him, hang out with him. He would always come to Ohio, he would always take me shopping. It was always about Tiffany, what's your dreams, what's your ambition, everything. I was a priority. And then things changed. they just slowly change. For example, when I would call him like the first year of our marriage, when I would give him a call and he'd always answer his phone. Now he doesn't answer the phone. He's on the roof. Like, you're always on the roof? You live on the roof. Like, seriously, answer my phone calls.
Tiffany is all fired up about why this man, who once adored and worshipped at her feet, could no longer cater to her needs after he married. Could it be that Mohammed was merely playing the part of Mr. Nice Guy to claim his prize before leaving Tiffany on the shelf, unattended and forgotten? But wait, there's more to this tale of betrayal and heartache.
Money was never an issue. He promised me a Porsche. He promised me a new house. It was always about Tiffany. Anything under the sun that I wanted, it was always within my reach.
Well then, a classic case of biting off more than one can chew. Apparently Mr. Hammoud may have found himself in over his head, promising the moon and stars to his beautiful wife, Tiffany, only to realize he couldn't quite deliver. Men and their empty promises. How often have we heard that tale? Why does he no longer enjoy picking up or returning Tiffany's calls? But as there are two sides to a coin, let's hear what he has to say in his defense.
She's very insecure. She's very insecure. If I'm at work, I'm working 3 jobs now, trying to keep up with her spending. The way she met me at the club was she thought I was a bouncer at the club at the time until I was walking out of the office and she realized I was the owner. Mm-hmm. Then all of a sudden, hi.
She lit up.
Yeah, she lit up.
Ooh, that is a serious accusation. But from what we've heard from Tiffany so far, maybe there's some truth in it. Is she in the marriage for the money and fancy? And why won't she let the man do his job? Also, why the abrupt change? Let's get some answers.
At that time, the construction business was really good at that time. I've had employees and I would pay them and they would work and I was there on the job just supervising at that time. Now it's like when I'm on the roof or I'm working, it's hard for me to answer.
How often do you call him?
A lot.
50 times a day.
No. How often do you call him?
I do call him a lot, but
I need a number. Give me a range.
50
What's the
times a day.
ballpark?
maybe 50, maybe 10 times.
Now that's one heck of a revelation. These are issues grown-ups shouldn't be having in marriage. Or are there other issues hidden beneath the cracks?
This chick that he knows from this,
Somewhere, yeah.
she likes everything on his page. Like, she likes everything on your page. And so I start talking to her, making her think that I was him. And he's telling her about my cardio class. Like, yeah, you should work out with my wife. And she's like, no, I want to work out with you. Laugh out loud, ha, ha, ha. And it's other situations where when he owned the nightclub, because we just let the nightclub go a couple of years ago, he had some city worker call his phone. He said, oh, this lady's hooked me up with my permits and stuff, so I'm going to invite her out to the nightclub. Someone else runs the nightclub they run those parties. They do all that stuff. So why is she calling your phone? So why call her back?
Let me explain business to you, Ms. Michael. When you're talking to somebody that you need to get permits from and is very important, they want to talk to the head honcho. They want to talk to the big man. He's trying to make money, so he doesn't send the junior people. If he needs something from somebody, he shows himself. That shows her respect. That gets him what he wants. It's called business, Ms. Michael. Let me explain business to you, Ms.
The judge found it hard to see anything
when you're
wrong
talking
with
to somebody that you need to get permits from and is very important, they want to talk to the head honcho. They want to talk to the big man. I don't understand how you could have a good-looking guy who thinks the sun rises and sets in your eyes, who talks to his other clients about going to you so you can have more money. I don't understand what it is you think you deserve that is better than that.
One thing has become clear. Tiffany only dragged this man to court because the goodies stopped coming like they used to. Gold digger, or a woman who just wants to be pampered for being a good wife. That depends on who you ask. However, will the judge be able to get her off her high horse and have a baby with this good man, or will she allow her insatiable appetite for material things to end their marriage? We wait to see.
I do everything he needs me to do with the construction company. I'm there with the gym. I go and open it up. Sometimes I'll close it up. I'm great with the kids. The kids I don't call them stepchildren. I call them bonus children. And I just feel like I'm there for him totally and 100%. And all I do is I call you and you don't answer the phone. I don't feel like that's fair. And I feel like it's a lot of double standards. Just a couple of days ago, I went and bought a pair of shoes. He was with me, we were shopping. He hates it, but he will go with me. And
Now the man has sprouted angel wings. What do you mean? I've been married 23 years. My husband hasn't gone shopping with me yet.
As the courtroom drama reaches its climax, tensions soar to unprecedented heights. With hearts pounding and breaths held, all eyes are fixed on the judge as the fate of Tiffany and Mr. Hammoud's marriage hangs in the balance. Will the judge rule in favor of reconciliation, or will Tiffany and Mr. Hammoud's marriage meet its final verdict?
If you want to have children with him, you have to show him that you are worthy to be the mother of his children. The mother of his children does not keep her hand out saying, I want. The mother of his children must take her hands and embrace. And I don't think you're capable of that. Quit calling that man 10 times a day. He's trying to work to bring you all the stuff that you want. He has the right not to be bothered, and you don't have the right to be entertained 24/7, 365. Motherhood don't Porsche. Motherhood SUVs. That's what it is.
As the judge pronouncement rings out, the gravity of Tiffany's selfishness hits her like a ton of bricks, and she realizes the error of her ways. It's a sobering moment of self-reflection, and she resolves to become a better wife, putting her husband's needs before her own. And Mohammed was delighted that the judge was able to get through to Tiffany, and he could finally have a woman capable of bearing his kids and keeping his home. Together, they'll face whatever challenges lie ahead, united in their shared commitment to building a brighter, happier future. There you have it, folks. That's our pick for the week. Be sure to share your comments on any of the cases you found interesting. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more awesome content. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.